In the far reaches of the galaxy, on a planet made of silver stone and shining towers, the Galactic Council gathered. Representatives of hundreds of species filled the wide circular chamber. Each sat on floating seats that slowly moved to face the center, where a single glowing platform rose like a stage. This was where big decisions were made. This was where destinies changed. On this day, the talk was about one small blue planet, Earth. For years, alien fleets had watched Earth from above. They had seen humans build cities, travel beyond their skies, and stand proud. But they also saw their wars, their fast rise, and their wild courage. The older species thought humans were dangerous, too fast, and too bold. They said Earth was a storm waiting to happen. Humans have no respect for the order of the stars, said the silver-skinned ambassador from the Raxun species. His voice echoed through the chamber. They must be placed under bondage status. If we do not control them now, we will regret it later. A green-scaled diplomat from the Zareth species nodded slowly. Their history is full of fire. They will not follow our rules. It is better to break their wings before they learn how to fly higher. A ripple of agreement moved through the chamber. One after another, alien ambassadors raised their glowing hands. One after another, votes turned bright red on the giant screen hanging above. Red meant approval. Red meant Earth would lose its freedom. The decision was made before any human could speak. The council's speaker, a tall creature with crystal eyes, stood. By the power of the council, he declared, the planet known as Earth is hereby placed under bondage. Their resources will be managed. Their actions will be controlled. Their people will serve under supervision until they prove they can be trusted. The chamber erupted with applause. On their homeworlds, alien news networks broadcast the decision. Commentators smiled. Analysts called it a wise move. They said humanity was too young to rule itself. In space, transport ships loaded with supervisors began moving toward the solar system. Far away on Earth, night and day blurred as every screen across the planet flashed with a single message. It was a message sent from the Council's main hub. Earth is now a restricted planet. Your sovereignty is suspended. At first, people did not speak. In homes, streets, offices, and factories, silence spread like a shadow. Then came the whispers. Some people cried. Some shouted. Some just stared at the sky. In the white desert of Nevada, leaders from many nations gathered inside an underground base. The room was simple. No bright screens, no cameras, just long tables and tired faces. Old enemies sat side by side. They mean to enslave us, whispered a gray-haired general. His voice trembled not with fear but with anger. They think we will kneel, said a scientist from Asia, tapping her fingers on the table. They do not understand us, answered a woman with sharp blue eyes. She wore a black uniform with no name on it. Her calm voice made the room go quiet. The president of the Global Union stood. We will not kneel, he said. We will not beg. If the galaxy has chosen chains for us, then the galaxy must be ready to hold them. The woman in black looked at him and nodded once. She was Earth's ambassador to the Council. For years she had tried to build trust with alien species. She had walked their streets, spoken in their languages, shared their tables. But deep inside she had always known this day might come. They voted without letting us speak, she said softly. Tomorrow I will go to them. Not to ask for mercy, but to tell them what they have done. The next morning, the glowing halls of the Galactic Council shone bright with pride. The alien ambassadors celebrated their decision like hunters who believed their prey was already in the cage. When the human ambassador entered the chamber, heads turned. She walked alone, no guards, no escorts. Her steps were slow and steady, like someone walking into a storm she had already accepted. The speaker of the council looked down at her. Human representative, he said with a cold smile. The decision is final. Earth will now belong to the council's guidance. You should be proud. It is for your own good. She looked at him with calm, dark eyes. You chose this, she said. Her words were soft, but the chamber grew colder. Some ambassadors laughed. Some whispered to each other. A few shifted nervously, sensing something they could not name. You do not understand your place, the Raxun ambassador said sharply. You should be grateful. But she said nothing more. She turned and left the chamber. Outside, reporters from alien media shouted questions, their translators buzzing. Will Earth accept the Council's rule? One asked. Will humans resist? Asked another. She did not answer. Across the stars, the Council began to tighten its grip. Alien fleets entered the solar system like swarms of silver insects. They placed patrol ships around Earth, Luna, Mars, and the asteroid belt. They controlled all communications that left the planet. They said it was to keep order. They landed their supervisors on every continent, setting up command towers and trade control stations. They believed humans would obey. After all, most species before Earth had accepted their place without a fight, but humans were not like the others. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in hidden chambers built long ago, secret lights turned on. Men and women who had been training in silence began to move. Scientists in underground labs worked with steady hands. Old war machines that had been sleeping for decades were quietly awakened. In every corner of the world, leaders spoke to their people not with fear, but with iron in their voices. "They think we will break," said one. "They are wrong." In orbit, alien commanders watched Earth closely. "They are too quiet," said a commander from the Drevi species. "They are planning nothing," another replied. "Humans talk big, but they are weak." But inside human command centers, silence was not weakness. It was preparation. Back on the Council planet, the alien ambassadors continued to celebrate. They saw themselves as wise rulers of the stars. Some joked about how humans would soon work in their factories. Some imagined Earth turning into just another resource world. None of them saw the storm building. One night, as the alien fleets floated around the solar system, a human satellite sent out a short silent signal. It was not a cry for help. It was a whisper to those who waited. The ambassador who had stood before the council watched the signal from her quiet office. The glow of the screen reflected in her eyes. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just closed her hand slowly, like someone holding the weight of a promise. Back on Earth, a young pilot climbed into a dark ship hidden beneath the Atlantic Ocean. A team of engineers whispered final checks. The ship's engines hummed like a sleeping giant. Across the world, thousands of others did the same. The galaxy thought Earth was on its knees, but Earth was standing in the shadows, and the storm had only just begun. Weeks passed, and the galaxy thought the war was already won. Alien ships floated above Earth like silver clouds, blocking the stars. The Council's supervisors moved through human cities with easy smiles. They believed humans had accepted their fate. They thought Earth had finally gone quiet because it was broken, but Earth was not broken. It was waiting. Far out near Jupiter, alien patrol fleets were busy scanning empty space. The commanders believed their watch was a waste of time. "Humans are on the ground," one of them said. "They have no power here." Then one night, something strange happened. One by one, the lights from their patrol stations began to blink out. At first, they thought it was a communication error. Then they realized something worse. Their ships were vanishing. No sound, no warning, no fight. Just empty space where entire patrols used to be. The Council sent bigger fleets to search. But when they reached the area, they found nothing but quiet darkness. The solar winds carried no signals. It was as if the humans had reached out with invisible hands and crushed the fleets in silence. On the Council world, whispers began to rise. Ambassadors who had laughed weeks ago now spoke in tight voices. "Something is happening in the Terran system," said one. Their silence was not surrender. "They cannot fight us," another argued. "They have no fleet strong enough to match ours." But no one could explain where the missing ships had gone. Back on Earth, underground bases buzzed like waking hives. Men and women in dark uniforms moved with quiet speed. Across the oceans, hidden doors opened and massive black ships slowly rose into the night sky. They were shaped like shadows, sharp, silent, and built to disappear into the dark. These ships were not new. They had been sleeping for decades, hidden under mountains, oceans, and ice. They were built for a day no one wanted to face but everyone prepared for. The day Earth would stand alone. The ambassador who had stood before the Council walked through a narrow hall under the Atlantic. Her boots echoed softly on the steel floor. Soldiers saluted her as she passed. Engineers whispered final checks into headsets. Screens showed glowing red dots, alien fleets orbiting Earth unaware of what waited below. "Everything is ready," said a voice beside her. It was the pilot she had met weeks ago, now dressed in black flight gear. "Then we move," she answered. At that moment, far above the planet, the Council's fleet still floated lazily in formation. Some ships were parked above major cities. Others circled the moon. Their commanders had grown used to quiet skies. Then the skies changed. The clouds split as hundreds of black shapes shot upward like silent arrows. They carried no warning beacons, no bright engines, no signals. The alien sensor screamed too late. Within seconds, the human fleet was among them. On the flagship of the alien control fleet, Commander Vrex stared at the screens in shock. "Where did they come from?" he shouted. "Why didn't we detect them?" "They're everywhere," an officer cried. The first human ships did not fire. Instead, they released pulses of light, silent, controlled waves that spread through space like invisible storms. The alien ships blinked and their engines went dead. One after another, their systems failed. Shields vanished. Weapons froze. The commander tried to give orders, but his voice cut through a dead system. The alien fleet hung helplessly in orbit like birds trapped in frozen air. Then came the second wave. Human ships moved through the alien formations with the grace of hunters who had studied their prey. They fired precise shots cutting through key points of the alien vessels. No wasted movement, no noise, just clean, sharp strikes. On the ground, humans watched the night sky glow faintly. They did not cheer yet. They knew this was only the beginning. In the council chamber, panic broke the calm for the first time in centuries. Ambassadors shouted over each other. Screens showed reports: fleet disabled, Jupiter patrol gone, Luna base silent. "How?" screamed the Zereth ambassador. "How can they do this?" "They planned it," said another, trembling. "They planned everything." The Raksoon ambassador, who had spoken so proudly weeks before, stared at the red alerts with a pale face. "We made a mistake," he whispered. On Earth, the human ambassador stood in the command center. A giant screen showed the Council's fleet helpless in orbit. She spoke with a calm voice that carried through every channel. "They took our freedom," she said, "but they never understood who we are. Now they will." Her words spread not only through Earth but through the entire communication grid. The Council could not stop it. Every species that had voted for bondage heard her voice. "You believed chains would hold us," she continued. "But Earth was forged in storms. We do not kneel. We do not break. And we do not forget." In that moment, the human fleet moved again. This time, they didn't just disable ships. They took control of the orbital stations. They seized communication hubs. They cracked open the Council's command network like it was nothing more than glass. Inside alien ships, panic turned into silence. The humans didn't torture or threaten anyone. They just took their power away completely. Far away in other star systems, smaller Council fleets received a single message from Earth. It was one line: "Leave. Now." One by one, they did. On the Council world, the speaker tried to calm the chaos. "We can still send reinforcements," he said, but the room shook with fear. "If we fight them, the whole Council may burn," whispered another. The ambassadors who had once cheered for Earth's chains now begged for negotiations. They asked for talks, for peace, for anything that would stop what they called the human storm. But Earth was not interested in begging anymore. 2 days later, the human ambassador returned to the same Council floor where they had declared Earth's bondage. But this time she did not stand alone. Behind her, a screen showed Earth's fleet surrounding the solar system. Alien ships floated like silent toys beside them. The speaker looked at her with shaking hands. "What do you want?" he asked. She stepped forward slowly. Her voice was soft, but it carried through the entire chamber. "We do not want your chains. We do not want your mercy. We want you to remember this day. The day you tried to break us. The day you learned why that was a mistake." The room fell silent. The same ambassadors who had once smiled now lowered their eyes. "You thought we were small," she continued. "You thought we would kneel. You forgot that storms do not kneel." No one spoke. No one dared to. Earth did not claim new territory. It did not ask for gold or power. Instead, it sent a single message to every species that had voted for bondage. "We will not serve. We will stand. If you try to chain us again, you will not find us waiting. You will find us coming." The fleets returned home not as prisoners but as victors. Across Earth, people stood in the streets and watched the alien ships retreat into the blackness of space. They felt something deep inside, not pride alone but quiet strength. The stars were no longer a ceiling. They were a promise. On the Council world, the once powerful ambassadors avoided each other's eyes. They knew the truth now. The galaxy would never see Earth the same way again. The word human would no longer be followed by weakness. It would be followed by fear. Weeks later, as Earth ships sailed silently through the stars, The ambassador stood alone in her office, looking at the night sky. She did not smile or celebrate. She only whispered to herself, "They will never forget." And they didn't. The galaxy remembered the day they tried to bind Earth, and Earth's anger swept them away.